YouTube. Welcome back to another ROMZ video, and today I think we're on part 4 now of the Andrew Tate versus Bonnie Blue reaction series I will be doing, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the series in general, man. Just like I'm doing and all that type of stuff as well, recording them. Paying to edit, but at the end of the day, we gotta get it done, man. But before we get into the video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff as well. Yeah, let's get straight into it. Is it gonna work?
They just sucked him off that day. The balls were being drained and they wouldn't have come and given me a facial. The balls wasn't drained, therefore they was in my queue. And a lot of these men, it's not because they don't love their family, they don't love their wife and their kids. That's
let me make sure I got everything intact, man, because sometimes it might not work. Everything's good. Alright.
One thing. Having sex is separate.
True.
And also a lot of these men, it's just sex to them.
True.
They're not asking for an emotional connection. And a lot of them sometimes just feel lonely because the world lets them down in loads of ways. They're made to work, they're made to provide, they're made to look after the kids, still empty the dishes. Like, they're made to do so much and they feel lonely. They can't go and say to their wife, you know what, work was hard today. She'll bite back and say, oh, the kids kept me up, this happened, and, you know, they dropped their yogurt on the floor. They've always got something to complain about, whereas I'm not that. I'm not like every other woman. They get to come to me and I'll listen to them and I will cater to their fetish. You know, as long as it's within my boundaries, I will do that for them. Because I'm like, I want to do that. I want to help you. I want to make your day a bit better because your wife isn't doing that. So I want to do that. So I don't find them weird. Like before, some of their requests, I'd be thinking, fuck me, like, where did you think of that? That's a bit weird, or that's odd. How are you getting off to that? But I thought, you know what, I'm not going to judge them. I don't know what they're going through to a certain degree. If I can make their day a bit better, I want to do that because I'm a good person.
Would you not say, though, Andrew, that's a weak man that's going to Bonnie?
I think men take what they can get. And I think that it's
definitely a weak man. Because it gets to a point, how down bad do you have to be be going lining up to Bonnie? Like, you could have thought when you even lining up, like, yo, is this worth it? When you see those niggas come in, yeah, and they could be like, yo, do you not think in your head, like, yo, this is not a good idea. This is just literally not a good idea. But
that's an imperative to take what they can get. Like, once again, I try not to be a hypocrite. I try very hard to be very fair with all of my views. So let me answer myself. If I was walking down the street and a beautiful woman come up to me and said, get me pregnant, no strings attached, I'd be like, all right, safe. I'll take it. Why not? I'll take what you can get, right? The men who are going to Bonnie perhaps do not have the options I have. But then, like me, if I go to Saint-Tropez, Monaco, Dubai, the most beautiful women in the world are begging for me all day, every day. When I go to Dubai, all the women that you men are Instagramming, and she's ignoring you, is chasing me because I've got the money and the status, which is what they want. But then I'm ignoring them because I can't be asked with the charge. So it's the circle of life. Do I blame men for taking what they can get? No. If there's a group of men around, there's a whole bunch of jizz, they should be too straight to pull that off. But one-on-one, if they can handle the time vortex, if they can get, you know, a calculator and work it out, it is what it is. Sex used to result in children. That was the point of sex. And now we have the capability of having sex without children, which is a relatively new experiment. And this also happens with homosexuality, with gay people, why they keep doing more and more deprived things, because sex gets boring after a while. It's like drugs, right? You take a little bit and then you need more and then you need more for more excitement all of the time. So where the whole ends, I don't know. Maybe a lot of this is down to porn addictions or those kind of things. I'll be here and I'll state completely honestly, and I say this before God and before the cameras, I don't watch porn. I haven't watched a porn clip in 20 years. I don't watch porn. I don't need to watch porn. I can barely get through my roster as it is. I ain't got time to be watching porn. I don't watch porn. I don't jerk off. I don't do any of that. I have too many females to service. I'm already behind. Like, I've got to hurry up on this podcast. I got to do. So I don't do any of that stuff. But if you're jerking off to porn all day, every day, perhaps you're always trying to find something new to excite you. That's why you end up looking at midgets and whatever. And then perhaps the depravity is the exciting part of it, like drugs or like anything else. But this is just an end result.
Yeah, man, porn is literally just the devil, bro. Like, yeah, it really does skew up me, man. I guarantee the people that line up probably, well, most of them watch porn, bro. I'll be honest, but most of them do. It just skews your mind. Like, it's not reality. It just fucks you up mentally once you, like, watch it, you know what I mean?
Result of having sex without the primary objective of having children, because that should be the result of sex, is children. We've removed that now, so the point of sex is pleasure, but we all know that pleasure gets old and you have to constantly up the game and up the ante. I don't know. Do I blame the men for taking the free pussy when they have no other pussy on the table? Absolutely not. I don't blame them. Do I blame Bonnie for making a whole bunch of money off it? No. If I was unhappy with that exchange, would my problem be with Bonnie or the men? No. My problem would be with society as a whole. If I believed that was wrong, perhaps I would have been online years ago trying to stop society heading down this direction. But if a whole bunch of men fought against me, turned up and raided my house with guns and waved MP5s in my face, saying that I'm a bad person for trying to protect society and saying what I believe society should function as, then I'd understand that men want this. So who am I to say otherwise? This is what men and women want. I'm just a guy. I'm just a dude. This is the Western world we've built. We've built a Western world where men are just tax slaves and women are the most important things on the planet who can do whatever they fucking want, and they're always permanent victims / always permanently right, and they're girl bosses and we're dumbasses and we just have to build the roads and build the buildings and die in ditches, and this is all a woman's world and it's a matriarchy. So if that's the world we live in, let women do whatever the they want. Cool. And the government can raise the kids. And this is the new society we've built, the new utopia. Fantastic.
Do you think Andrew's a good role model?
It depends which way you're looking at it. But yeah, everything he says.
Well, how would you look at it?
Well, yeah, I guess. I think he is. I've heard clips before where you spoke about, and I think, God, I couldn't disagree more. But it's because I've looked at it out of context. Then when I've actually listened to the podcast and it's put in context, I'm like, he is completely right.
To be fair as well, a lot of people look at clips, man. You have to look at always the full context of everything as well. Because some people just jump into everything as well. Obviously, like with Tate and stuff like that, yeah, he's a very controversial figure and stuff like that. And I used to I told you, I used to be like a red pill guy, man. I used to be like Bring of Tate, like all these type of other people gurus. But then when you kind of deepen, you actually could kind of like listen to what he says. Some of it he says is still true, but some of it he says is just contradicting to himself, man. Like he does contradict himself a lot. I will say that he does, like he literally does. So, like I think as well, Bonnie does make a good point. Like clips do get people out of context. It makes people out of context. So that's what context is so important. You look at the whole clip. And look at the whole video, look at the context of the video, and then you can make your judgment through there, you know what I mean?
So there's not many things, apart from him saying people are gay, I disagree with. Like, I'm like, okay, yeah, that is true. It's factual. A lot of the time, we're not talking opinions. We're talking facts. Near enough everything we've spoken about today, when you talk about the past, the future, how it is, it's factual. You look on the news, everything we're saying is true. We're not here just saying, oh my God, you know, I think this is vile. We're saying it's vile. Here's the stats. Here's the statistics to it. So you can disagree with it. We're not saying everything we agree with, but we're giving you the facts. You can't cry about that.
Right. How do you think people are going to take you being on this show with Bonnie Blue?
I don't know. I don't really know.
It's actually nice not being the hated, like most hated person in the room for a change.
Well, I'm sure, yeah. And I think I'd be uncomfortable and unfamiliar with not being the most hated person in the room. But I don't really give a fuck how people take it, to be honest. I think people will understand that, you know, it's entertaining. I think that this conversation's been very interesting. I don't know if people expected me to like have a go at Bonnie or try and tell her what she's doing is wrong.
I've been called like the female version of Andrew Tate for a long time now. And I think just because I say women are lazy, they are poorly educated.
Female
they're not
version of Tate is crazy. That is mad. I don't know. I mean, maybe she is. I don't know, man. I don't know at the end of the day, man. But literally... But she needs, but I'm sorry, but her soul needs snatching, man. She needs a long, hard look of herself, man.
A guy, and if you're not servicing your guy, he's going to go and cheat. And everyone's like, you basically sound like Andrew Tate. But it's like, I'm talking from experience. They're talking from all experience. And I'm saying, hey, these are the facts. I've slept with over 1,000 people, and this is my experience.
But you know, if you want a really intellectual conversation, if you want to really actually analyze society by and large, this false bullshit of male sexual exclusivity is actually creating most of the problems in the world today. When we say to women that a man should be loyal to only her, that's what's creating all of the divorces, all of the breakups, all of the women who run from man to man to man to man trying to find a loyal one. None of them are ever loyal. So then they end up just chasing the bag and chasing money and end up being sex workers, which is fine. But all of this comes from this bullshit idea that men have ever been sexually exclusive. Men have never been sexually exclusive. Women were to guarantee paternity. Men, since the dawn of time, every king, every sultan have had harems, they have had concubines.
Yeah, but that's a minority though. Kings are the key word, kings. Everyone was a king. The servants were the servants and all that sort of stuff were the ones that were monogamous to the one woman. But yeah, but it's always been the type of time where it's like 1 or 2 percentile we're always collecting most of the women and having sex with most of the women. I do agree with that, but that's not all the men though. You get the picture? That's not all the men. Most men are not capable of having multiple women. That's just how it is. Most men are not capable of having multiple women, so they have to settle with what they have, you know what I mean?
Every single man who could, did. The men who can't say they wouldn't and say they don't want it because they can't. It's like a broke man saying he wouldn't drive a Ferrari. No one gives a fuck what you think because you're poor. If you're actually important and you can have a harem, you have a harem. They always have. So now we have this weird society where men are out here trying very hard to compete in the sexual marketplace, to become as important and rich and successful and well-known as possible because it's so hard to get a woman. When they finally pull that off, women are chasing him because women only want the top 1% of men. And then when a woman gets with him, she tells him, you can only be with me and no one else. And then he's like, okay, well, you've been with a whole bunch of men before me. You're not even a fucking virgin. You don't even listen to me. You don't shut up when I tell you to. So why the fuck am I going to only be with you? I'll be with 10 women just like you. You all have big mouths. So if I'll just be with all of you. And then she's like, oh my God, he cheated. And then she'll run away and just do the same thing again with another guy. And before you know it, after 20 bucks, she sits there and goes, why am I fucking for free? Let me just get paid out of this. So then she says, all right, she either becomes a sex worker honestly or becomes a sex worker dishonestly via rape charges and rape claims. That's what they do. If you're a woman who makes a rape claim against a man and you have an OnlyFans, you literally use sex to make money. And you literally lie to men pretending to like them. And now you're doing the same thing in a courtroom. The court has become OnlyFans. The court's OnlyFans now. Nothing's different. A woman just gets her pussy and gets her tears or gets her lies, and she uses the court system to make money as opposed to using the OnlyFans platform. What's the difference?
I think
so you either have honest or dishonest sex workers. And all of this comes from the fact that we don't have a society where you say, a man at that stature is going to have 4 or 5 wives. Get over it. Life would be a lot simpler if we could. If women weren't brainwashed into believing they need a loyal man. A man is loyal to you when he puts up with you, protects you, and provides for you. If a man's paid...
Also, sexual discipline is important as well. Like, that's another thing. And I think as well, and I think in the Quran they say this as well, like, yeah, 4 wives can have it, but you have to treat them equally. It's impossible to treat all the wives equally. So by definition, that kind of disputes the point. Because when you have 4 wives or 5 wives, you have to treat every single woman equally. And it's impossible. You can't do that. How are you going to treat the woman equally when one person's going to get jealous, this is going to happen when you couldn't look like, bro, the multitude of reasons are going to happen, multiple headaches are going to happen. So,
paying your bills and will stop you getting attacked on the street and puts up with your emotions, that's loyal. Don't worry about where his dick goes. That's loyalty. He's shown you loyalty. And he can put his dick wherever he wants. That's actually loyalty.
What do you think about that?
See, I'm very different though, because I'm the one that does the income. They probably wouldn't be working it, but the other way around, because women also want things to be different. So like, I'm not saying I agree with that. Like, I think if I was with a guy, they probably wouldn't work. I'd be the one to be in control, and I'd be the one fucking loads of other guys, and they'd be loyal to me. Things are different.
Yeah,
yeah, that's fucks, man. Yeah, that's a mad relationship, man. Imagine you as a guy being loyal while Bonnie's going fucking many guys, bro. Oh my god. That's a sick imagination.
We've all seen it because she has the money. She's doing the protection and provision because she's got the cash. But
what if the guy has like millions of pounds?
What I'm saying is, the happiest women, let's look, and this is cultural. Like if you go to Russia and you meet a billionaire, you think he has one wife. I mean, he has his wife, of course, and he has his girlfriend. And his wife just keeps her eyes closed and doesn't care, and he gets to enjoy his girlfriends, and his wife gets to drive a G-Wagon, and everyone's happy. It's only
but not necessarily they'll be happy though. They're just putting up with it. There's acceptance. There's 5 stages to grief. She probably didn't like it first. She's probably arguing at first because no girl wants to be like shared. No one girls wants to share. That's just how it is. No girls wants to share. Most girls don't want to share. So if they have a billion women, they're just putting up with it. Like if they wanted the guy to be monogamous to one person, they would have ideally had that. It's only because the guy's a billionaire and they can't stop the guy that's just putting up with it. But I don't think she's really happy. I wouldn't say she's happy. I wouldn't know. You know what I mean? You always got to look at the context.
The West, where she'll be like, I can't believe he wants to talk to another girl. Stupid. And then women end up leaving men they love because he cheated and then getting cheated on by a man they don't love.
I will say most men do cheat. I will say that.
Dumb.
I will say
and it's just over and over and over again until they end up as sluts or old and used to the point where they can't get the quality of man they want. Then they're sitting around 36. I can't find a man who's, I don't like this guy. I don't like this guy. Because the guys you like are with 22-year-olds, my dear. And you had a guy who loved you and you fucked it up because you cried over him cheating like an idiot. Women, find a man you love. Let him cheat. Just tell him to only come home to you and only love you.
Nah, this is bad advice.
Let him do what he has to do. Don't stress him too much. Have some kids. Drive a Bentley. That fixes society. But of course, if I say that, I'm a misogynist. I'm the worst man in the world. I deserve to go to jail.
If you said to that girl, go and work, go and earn your own money, go and do this, they don't want to do that either. So you've got to pick and choose. Like
when you tell women to go earn their own money, one way or another, it ends up being sex work. You tell me you don't see these female fucking estate agents, whatever, in their little girl suit and their makeup and all pretty. Have you ever seen like one of these successful girl boss estate agents who's obese? I'm asking.
I haven't seen an obese female estate agent, no.
But have you seen obese women achieve anything financially? Or there? Because if you say no, then you're saying the women are judged on how they look. So
was you see Lizzo as one? But then she's lost weight actually, so.
Version of female work is sex work. That's the question. Can women do anything without being judged on the one thing they have, which is their sexuality?
I think you can be an obese comedian and make money.
Women
but then you'd be making jokes about the fact you're fat.
Yeah,
that's
and women
why
aren't funny.
You funny.
Let's be honest, women aren't funny.
Aren't funny, did you say?
Of course not.
I think I've made you smile a few times.
Yeah, you've made me smile because I've been impressed by your intuition.
Oh, see. Oh my God. Oh my days. Yo, Tate is funny as fuck, man. Bro, you did find him, bro. I said women aren't funny, but then you smile at Bonnie Blues through a few jokes, and then said, "Well, I've been impressed. It's not funny." You're basically finding it funny, man. Like, they'd be saying anything, but not actually taking accountability, bro. I swear sometimes men don't even take accountability more than girls, bro. I used to thought girls would take accountability, but I think men will don't take accountability, man. Bro, it's getting to that point, man. I can't even lie. It is really getting to that point.
I've been impressed by how correctly you see society. But I think by and large, female comedians aren't really funny because humor is a masculine mating tactic. We have to make women laugh for them to like us, whereas women don't have to make us laugh. They have to be hot. Men fall in love with what they see. Women fall in love with what they hear.
Yeah.
Which is why women wear makeup. So we see something we like. And that's why men lie. So they hear something they like. Men lie. Every man on a date is a gangster and he's rich. Any girl go on a date with any guy. If women watch
this called Mr. Sell the Dream.
I know you've been on a date with some guy recently. He's got a few tattoos. He's got a sleeve, and he's a gangster. He's a criminal, and he's got all this money. And he's a fucking jackass. He's got like $6,000 in the bank and a rented car on finance.
But $6,000 in the bank is quite a lot.
He's lying. He's trying to pretend he's the G, and you're gonna fall for it. You're gonna suck his, and then you're not even gonna get paid out at the end of it. And then you're gonna realize he's a loser, and you're gonna go get another boyfriend. So you were just sex working for free like a fucking idiot. You just got tricked. You can't trick Bonnie. Bonnie gets paid. You can't trick Bonnie. Bonnie gets her money at the end. You're dumbass. You're sucking for free. Like a retard. So this is the world we live in now. So women are always judged on how they look, no matter what they do. Because to true biology, men are trying to find attractive women who can give them children, which is why we're attracted to women who are younger because they're more likely to get pregnant. That's why attraction in and of itself, what is attraction? Attraction is health. When you look at a woman who looks healthy or has good genetics, because she'll give you strong offspring. That's what attraction even is. So women are always going to use their attraction. Once a woman's obese and ugly, then she starts walking down the street screaming about a bunch of garbage because she knows she can't compete in the true market of sexual dynamics, which is men have power and women have attraction. That's how it works. So I just think it's completely hypocritical for us as a Western society. I think it's absolutely insane to have any kind of opinions on sex work or Bonnie or anything else when women are using their sex nonstop all the time. How is having an Instagram page and being an influencer and doing TikTok dances with massive silicone tits and doing this, then getting millions of views and unlimited money for dancing around with a dance? It's not even good. Not sex work. How is that not sex work? How is Instagram not sex work?
You're uploading your best photos. You want people to find you attractive.
You're filtering. Instagram is a dating app. Women shouldn't be.
Instagram is a dating app, but consider sex work. I guess there's two arguments to it. I mean, you can say yeah, you can say no. I don't know. That's the one I have to think about. I'll be honest, man. But Instagram is definitely a dating app now. Like literally, people ask for the Insta, man. You just look at the profile and you see if it's good or not. Simple as that.
Instagram, you're looking for male attention. You're uploading your best pictures with filters. You got your tits out in every photo. You're shaking your ass in every photo. All these Instagram reels, all of TikTok, all of this. Look at any of the famous women. How is all of it not sex work? You're advertising sex or you're making people want to fuck you for attention or money. It's all sex work. So we as a society say, yeah, an 18-year-old girl can get massive silicones and dance around on TikTok and get millions and millions of viewers, but she's an influencer. No. She is a sex object.
Yeah.
That's all she is.
I mean, girls, I'll be honest, I will agree women do objectify themselves. Some women do, to be fair, because, yeah, if you're posting live, flipping, shaking your ass, like, guys are not going to like it just because they will like it for you. They're going to do it because they want to, slide in and get some, you know what I mean? So...
They're the ones that walk down the street. That's what pisses me off. They walk down the street and then they cry that a guy's wolf whistled them. They crying that a guy's looked at their tits, that your tits are hanging out. I actually don't wear revealing clothing as such. I stay covered up. I don't feel like the need to show my tits. People can just see it, in person for free when I want to get naked. But I don't walk around looking like most of these other people do. Yeah, I am a slut. But they walk around crying about the fact people call them sluts. It's like, look at you.
Same in the gym.
Look in the mirror.
Same in the gym. They wear those tight gym clothes and complain that people are looking at them.
They're videoing themselves bending over going, oh my God, look at that guy.
So it's anti-sex work. So they do sex work and then complain they're being seen as sexual objects.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying, Rob? You know what I'm saying is true. I understand you don't want to go to jail, so you have to be careful how you reply. I understand, sir.
I'm just doing my job here.
You're just a commentator.
Andrew, if you go to jail, I'll identify as a guy, so we can go in together.
All right, thank you.
Top and tail. I mean, you can be in me if you want. I just thought, we'd keep that bit a secret.
Bonnie, we're friends. You're my only female friend.
Friends with benefits.
No benefits. I've never had a female friend in my life. I really don't have any female friends. I don't have a single female friend because I don't really talk to women unless
I just don't really like women.
They don't really have much I want to hear to say. Hey, so.
When women talk a lot of the time, I'm there just smiling thinking, you're so irrelevant. In the nice way possible. The things you're saying, they aren't funny. Like, I think I am funny, but when they speak, I'm like, you're really not funny. I'm having to laugh at this joke to be polite. I'm having to pretend you're interesting out of politeness. I'll have to pretend your stresses at work are relevant, but they're not. You just work for someone else that works for someone else. Like, when I listen to other women talk, I'm like, you're boring me. It's not entertaining.
I can see why a lot of people say she's the female Andrew Tate. That is crazy. That's actually mad.
And I can't listen to your issues because they're not issues. They're just, I don't know, just pathetic excuses.
So, Rob, let me ask you a question, sir. We have to make a decision. We are headed down the road we are traveling. Do we do an absolute 180 reversal of society and go back to traditional men in charge, patriarchal society where women have to obey their fathers and obey their future husbands, where they have to get married young, have children? Or do we continue down the path where every single woman decides to make as much money as possible using her sexuality like Bonnie does? These are the two options. They're the only options that exist. There is no in between. There is no smart answer. There is no Aikido. There is A or B.
If I had to pick one, yeah, we gotta do a 180, man. We have to, bro. And even I know a lot of this, man, but, people might deem me as a misogynist myself, man, because, we shouldn't do traditional, but I truly believe I won't say the world would be so much better, but the world would be at least as stable as if it was traditional relationships than just where we are right now. It's not working, man. It's not working. Why? I don't think it was bad in the 50s and 60s, and then all of a sudden we changed something that wasn't broken, and then you see what happened. What's happening right now?
Do you want to remove the female vote, or do you want your daughters and every other woman you know to end up like Bonnie Blue? Which one?
Well, I think both roads end.
No, don't try and Aikido it, Rob.
But both end the same way.
Which is what?
Both end up back with patriarchy running society. When, what is it? Weak men
create hard times. And hard times create strong men, and strong men create good times, and good times create weak men.
And that is the cycle.
Absolutely.
And society is weak right now. And if you don't have strong leadership, you have government that starts to lead. And when government starts to lead and becomes too bloated and takes from society, in the end, society rebel. Even people who voted hardcore Labour, and even people in Labour will turn on Labour soon enough.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think you're right. But I think things are going to get far more interesting before that happens.
Well, revolution. That's the only way you reset.
Silver has crashed. It's back to its price in 1974.
But
So join your...
And that's why men and masculinity is under such constant attack. That's why they're trying to get rid of me. That's why they don't like what I say, because when you have men who are prepared to stand up for something, we're seen as a threat to the system. That's why masculinity in and of itself is attacked, because they don't want men who stick up for themselves, because if you stick up for yourself, you stick up for society, which is why they use feminism and they weaponize it to destroy the masculine instinct. Because if women have more power than men, and if you can't even have a family, and you can't even tell your own wife what to do, why are you going to try and have any vested interest in society? If you have a house and you're the king of that household, and your woman obeys you and your children obey you and you're the king of the house, you're not going to give up that street or that town or that city or that country easily, because that's your house, that's your kingdom. If you're going home and your woman doesn't listen to you and she doesn't suck your dick and you're paying all these taxes and your kids ignore you and they just watch YouTube and you're not the man of anything, why are you going to stand up and rebel on the street? You don't give a shit. You've lost all vested interest in protection. Your protective instinct has been neutered. You're a eunuch. That is why feminism is used. This is the point I'm making about certain groups of men using women as a conduit to destroy other groups of men. Women are not the gun. Women are the bullet. Men still hold the guns. Feminism is a bullet that a man has shot. This is what most people don't understand about all of these ideals. And what I'm saying is, the society we have built has encouraged women to be as promiscuous, as rebelling, as open, as sexual, and to get as much money as possible. And Bonnie has just played the game the best and won the game. The game is chess.
Well, she kind of destroyed herself, though. I don't know.
She's a grandmaster at it. You can't complain about the grandmaster. You have to complain about the game of chess. So it's completely asinine for anybody to ever give Bonnie a hard time about anything she's doing ever.
Well, I do agree, though, to be fair. So she's not the main problem. Like, the main problem is people that push her. That's like the main problem. Like, people who organize this shit and making her relevant. That's the main problem. So I will agree that in terms of surface level thinking, we'll just think Bonnie Blue is a problem, but she's not the problem. She's part of a problem, but she's not the main problem. The main problem is the people that keep pushing it, and that's what you gotta look at. And I think if people start looking at it like that, where they don't just look at the figurehead, they look at someone that's more behind the scenes, then we're more likely become more of a better society. But it's not, bro. Like, busy people too short-minded nowadays. So,
when in fact she's just the best at the game that's currently being played, because 99% of women are trying to do the same thing as her, which is use their to get some money.
And that doesn't bother you hearing that?
No, it's factual. It's the truth. So why could I be offended? If you're offended by something that's factual, then change it. If I was offended by calling a prostitute flag, then I should change that. But how can I sit there and say I'm ever offended by anyone telling me what's the truth?
And Rob, and I want to make something clear. I really do try and ground myself in absolute logic in all ways. And that's why I'm extremely hard on myself. I've said to you in previous podcasts that what happened to me about jail and all this shit, it was me. I take absolute responsibility for everything that's ever happened to me. I'm not a person who blames anyone else. Considering women just want status and money, don't think I haven't thunk about the fact about the women who say they love me. I'm not dumb. I love you so much. I love you. I love you. Of course. I love that you're attractive. I love that you're attractive and you do as I say. And you love that I'm very famous and very rich and I give you a lifestyle. Now, you say you'd love me if I didn't give you the lifestyle. But if I didn't give you the lifestyle, how would I even be me? How am I me with no money? How am I me with no status? How am I me with no power? Who am I then? I'm a different person. So I know you're with me because you get things. And I'm with you because I get things. It's transactional. All relationships are transactional. This podcast is a transaction. This is how things work. So I'm not stupid enough to believe the women who say they love me, even though they say they love me, and even though they mean it when they say it, they're not smart enough to analyze that they are doing a transaction because they don't think of it that way. They just feel love. Oh, I love you so much. Oh, you love me so much. We're just cruising in the Lambo and we're just in, you're just all of a sudden you say you love me. They don't even realize what they're doing. I do. I understand the world very well.
But isn't love a human need?
Love is a transaction.
It's a human need.
Women love who protect and provide for them, whether they're the French soldier or the German soldier, sir. Women love when they get what they want. That's it.
You need
I disagree with that, though. I disagree with that. That's the toxic woman you'd probably face across. But there is women out there that actually love someone for who they are and stuff like that. Like, and I've seen it. I've generally seen it where a lot of women have loved the person for who they are. Not just maybe, the lifestyle they give. Those are just add-ons. For me, love is still a thing that is very, very underrated. It's a very, very underrated concept. It's a very underrated feeling that a lot of people do sleep on and stuff like that in the day. So I do disagree. That's just short-sighted. That's short-minded. Maybe because, because the lifestyle you bring, you're going to bring people that are just there for your money. But if you're broke, you still you're going to probably have less people love you, but you're going to have more quality women that actually love you for who you are than just the lifestyle, the money, etc., all that type of stuff.
There's no loyalty. Loyalty doesn't exist.
Loyalty, what I'm trying to say here, and any man who's been to divorce or had problems with women will agree with me and understand exactly what I'm saying. Women are loyal to how they feel. If you make them feel a certain way, then they're loyal to that feeling, which is loyal to you. Women aren't loyal to anything outside of how they feel. Men actually are more loyal than women. Because men, like I said, can suffer gracefully. Women can't. Men will be loyal to a society. Men will be loyal to a race. Men will be loyal to their friends. Women can't even get along for 5 minutes amongst themselves. Men will be best friends for 50 years. Men are loyal. We know loyalty completely. We'll go die in a ditch for a flag. You want to talk about loyalty? Men are loyal. Women aren't loyal. Women are, how do I feel today? You can take a woman on a private jet to a mansion in Miami and have the best time. She'll tell you how much she loves you. And then the next day when she's mad at you, she will literally say verbatim, you never give me anything. You don't take care of me. You reject me. I'm not looked after. She'll forget 12 hours before where she had the world. Because women are only care about how they feel. They don't even think. They just feel. And what they feel is absolute gospel truth. And it matters more than society, matters more than everything else. Why are the white women of Britain not waking up saying our population's being replaced? Our grandfathers died for this island. We need to have as many white children as possible before this becomes a caliphate.
Talk about you snowbuddies, man.
Why don't we protect the race of British people who only have this land, and when this land is gone, there's nowhere else to go. We need to find white husbands and have Christian children now. Why? Because they don't feel like it. They don't give a shit about World War II. They don't give a shit. Their grandfathers died. They don't give a fuck about England. They don't give a fuck about anything because they only care about how they feel. Whereas a man might sit and...
Yeah, but do you blame them though for not really caring though, as a woman? Now, what do they gain off really caring about that? They don't gain off anything, man. They don't really gain off anything. So, any day, I don't really blame them for not caring. I generally don't blame them for not caring.
Say, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to suffer for the greater good of my race, my nation, my ideals. So men are loyal, but women aren't.
What do you think about that, Bonnie?
I think it really depends. Like, for example, if I was in a relationship, I believe he'd be loyal and I'd be loyal. But like I said, that's...
But you're getting divorced, aren't you?
Yeah, because for a whole separate reason. Me and my ex, we grew apart, was together, went from the age of 14. You change a lot in that time. And most women just stay in that relationship because it's comfortable. It's easy. It'd been easier if I stay with my partner. It saves the work. It saves the, to a heartache to a certain extent. It saves the having to split your finances. It's easy and lazy of me if I just stayed in that. And most people in relationships, they stay with that person because it's easy and they're in a comfortable situation. Most people don't go, I want to focus on my happiness and leave that relationship. But I do. I focus on myself. I'm happy to admit I am selfish a lot of the time. And for me, staying in that relationship didn't mean happiness. So I left that. Most women would have stayed in that.
So are men loyal and women not loyal? Do you agree with what Andrew said there?
I was loyal to my partner to a certain degree.
But loyal, when I'm saying loyal, everyone's confusing that with sexually exclusive. See, I'm loyal to my women, but I'm not sexually exclusive to my women.
Yeah,
but that's a big part of loyalty, is being sexually exclusive as well. Exclusive. There's loyal in other ways as well. I think maybe women's definition of loyal and men's definition of loyal is completely different, okay, cool. But that's why you set the boundaries up front. So if you set the boundaries up front, like, listen, I might be doing this, and then she respects the boundaries, then you're loyal. And if you set the boundaries and they cross the boundaries, then they're not loyal. So for me, yeah, as I said, it depends on what type of loyalty that people differentiate as, because it's different for everyone. It's completely different for everyone. Some people, as I said, going back to a few couple of videos I made, some girls don't really care if the guy goes fucks a good other girl. As long as they're the main woman, that's completely fine. But most relationships they wouldn't like, they'll leave. Would you say that guy's loyal? I would say he is loyal because at the end of the day, he set the boundaries up front that, listen, I'm going to be doing this. He hasn't crossed any boundaries, then he's loyal in that accent. So that's I think that's for me personally, is if you actually lie and don't have boundaries and then you set the boundaries too late, then you're not loyal. You're literally not loyal.
And a weak man will confuse the two and go, no, loyalty is sexual exclusivity because he's a little bitch. That's nothing to do with loyalty.
I think it depends on your agreement and communication with that person. Some people,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I agree with that.
Swingers. Some people have open relationships, so that yes, they're having sex with other people, but that's when their agreement. Everything's down to communication, and women aren't open to communicating a lot of the time.
All right, Rob. So which woman do you have more respect for? A woman?
Here we go, A or B.
Yeah,
because that's how the
no,
the
but
world
life
works.
is A and B's. Life is actually A and B's.
Andrew,
no, I'm asking you.
No, I disagree with that. See, then that goes back to my point about how the red pill is just black and white. It's not. There's always an amber. There's nothing. There's always an in between. Life is not A and B. It doesn't work like that. Life is not just from point A to B. There's context needed for everything. Like, why does it have to be this or this? It doesn't work like that, and that just leads to not intellectual debates or intellectual arguments. It just leads to back and forths and stuff like that. So life is not A to B all the time, really. I do agree it is A to B, but there's always a middle as well. There's always a middle thing to kind of, evaluate the context on that thing in terms of points A to B.
I'll play the game.
Okay,
Let's
perfect.
go.
A woman like Bonnie who's very honest and very open and uses her promiscuity to financially gain, or a woman who pretends she loves a man for money who she doesn't really love and intends on divorce raping.
So you're saying, but that's not only the two women that do that though. There's another one that's loyal, that's actually wife material, that type of stuff as well. So you're just going to discount hypothetical situations because that's a hypothetical. There's no way you're going to get those two options, bro. Like, there's no way you're going to have an honest girl that's a hoe and a girl that's a hoe behind the scenes. It doesn't work like that. Not all girls are hoes. Not all men are hoes. Not all men are girls are hoes. Not all men are hoes. So the fact that it's just skewed to a man that's always black and white, I just don't agree with that. I genuinely don't agree with that. That context is so important to everything. There's always a middle. There's always something that could be in between and stuff like that.
There's 1,000 times more of them than there are Bonnie Blues. And those are the actual problem. A woman who will falsely accuse a man of or falsely accuse a man of hitting her in a divorce court to try and get as much money as possible off a man she barely even loved in the first place and she was only with him for money. Or a woman like Bonnie who's honest. Who do you respect more?
I respect someone who's more honest about their femininity and sexuality.
So these women who are just with me and telling me they love me because they want my money, and the women who accuse me of but they don't get it, and all of my current girlfriends who say, I love you so much, but they run their mouth to me the second they don't like something and they get upset about something and they show they don't actually respect me. They just want a lifestyle. Do you think I respect them more than I respect a woman like Bonnie who's honest?
Do you think maybe you're just attracting that kind of woman? Because
that's what I was saying. Yo, thank you. I was literally saying this. You are what you attract. You're basically attracting those type of women. So just because you just think that women are like that, just because you're attracting those type of women, doesn't mean all women are like that. I want to keep repeating this because I fell for this trap and I used to be like this too. So I know how it is. Because the women you speak to, yeah, it's toxic women, but that's not all women. That's not how it works.
Well, because I'm super successful and super rich.
Oh, here we fucking go, bro. It's not that, bro. It's because maybe you're just not that person to be. You are what you attract. You don't attract the right type of women, and that's your problem.
But that's what women chase.
But that's what women chase, and that's what the most.
Do all women chase that?
Well, Rob.
A lot. The people that are broke sit and complain the fact they're broke. So just because they don't have it, they want it.
Rob, let's reverse this. You're saying I attract a certain type of woman who loves money, right?
I think we all attract a certain type of person based on who we are.
You nailed it. So based on who you are, depends on what you chase in the world. Wouldn't the most attractive women on the planet want money? Let me ask you, this is a thought experiment. If you're a beautiful woman and you know you're beautiful, you're in the top tier of beauty on the planet. You're the top 0.1% of women on the planet in terms of pure looks. Are you going to use that to make money, or are you going to go with a brokey? You're going to use that to make money because you have a USP.
Well, society proves it, I think.
Absolutely. So if I want the most beautiful women on the planet, those women want money. So here we are.
So you just get rich to attract beautiful women? Is that
No, that's not why I got rich. I got rich because I wanted to be powerful. I actually didn't want money. I wanted power. Turns out everyone realizes once they have money that they never want money in the first place. They wanted power. You know this. Elon himself knows this. Imagine being Elon, the richest man on the planet. You still got some Jezebel Ashley running her mouth about you and taking you to court. That's the matriarchy we live in. You can be the richest man on the planet. Some silly woman can still lie about you and drag you to court. Isn't that incredible? Think about that. That would never happen in ancient times. You're a king. You're the richest man on the face of the earth. And some random gets to drag you to court and put you in front of a judge. Incredible. Look at me. Trying to take down my empire with these women just lying. This is the world we live in. We live in a matriarchy. No man is safe. The point I'm making is, if you're a man who wants the most attractive women on the planet and you want true beauty, the women you find will instinctually want money.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. But then you can't complain about the men. You can't complain to them being gold diggers then. Because I think he mentioned as well in the 3 parts ago, it's like, women are gold diggers. Well, you can't complain because you are what you attract. You literally attract gold diggers. You attract people with the beauty is beautiful women that want money. So by definition, you attract gold diggers. You know what I mean?
Because they're beautiful. Beautiful women, that's what they want. They want to get something for their beauty because they understand how unique they are. Don't we all? If you understand your unique set of skills, you want a high-paying wage at a job. If you know you're the only person who can do this job, you want to be paid well for it, don't you? This is human nature. My point is this.
So love is transactional.
Of course love's transactional. My point is, for the people complaining about Bonnie Blue, they need to shut the up and complain about all the women out here pretending they love men and dragging them through divorce courts and taking half their stuff.
No, we should complain about the people that promote her to be doing this shit. That's who we should be going for. So the thing what he's saying, I disagree. What we should go for is the people that have enabled her to be doing this. That's the people that we should be going for, because this is unacceptable. And yeah, women be doing that shit, but at the end of the day, they're not fucking thousands of men. Then that's crazy. Even you can speak to the biggest hoe in your area, bro. They ain't doing that shit, bro. At the end of the day, even they'd be like, yo, that's crazy. They probably even hate Body Blue themselves. The people we should be going for, the people that are enabling her to have a platform, people that enable her to promote her to have the shit. That's who we should be going for. Keep muting all the time.
Bonnie's never taken half of a man's stuff.
No.
You've never taken half of a man's anything. You've taken some OnlyFans subscriptions. She ain't taken half of a man's house.
Well, wait a minute here. How much your top subscribers pay you? I mean,
but that's voluntary. It wasn't taken. It was given.
They've chosen to. That's like if.
How much? What's the biggest amount of subscriber pay?
We're talking like hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands of pounds.
Yeah.
Of course.
An individual man pays.
Yeah.
Just to see your content online.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's given. It's not taken. She didn't drag him in front of a judge.
Not holding him at gunpoint.
What do you think about men spending hundreds of thousands of pounds?
I used to have a webcam studio. That's normal. If she didn't take a man in front of a judge and forcibly take his stuff. I think what Bonnie's doing is far less destructive or heinous than a woman dragging a full-grown man in front of a judge and making him liquidate half of his empire that he worked for his entire life so she can take that money and go f another man.
But going back to my point, not all women do that though. Like, those are the women that you hang out with probably do that shit, but that's not all. We're still a minority women. Minority women wouldn't do that shit. Yeah, there was cool fucked women out there that do that, but they wouldn't do it anyway. But the thing is, you shouldn't be getting in this position in the first place. That's what I truly believe. Get a prenup, man. Get a prenup.
I think every single divorce currently going through the courts today is more heinous and more aggravating than anything Bonnie's done.
But if someone got with me, I'd be like, Andrew, I've got tight holes, good blowjob skills, and I'm not going to cry rape the next day.
How could you be tight with that? I don't want to just state the obvious, but how could you be tight with that amount of men?
Well, that'd be your opinion, Rob.
I mean, just a question. My opinion doesn't mean anything in this situation.
I can prove it, though. Do you want to prove it?
Oh,
So who's tighter, your wife or me?
that's mad.
Next question, huh?
Andrew, what's your biggest failure or regret?
I don't operate from a realm of failure. I don't think I've really failed it very much. I think I've done pretty good in this simulation, considering the primary objectives of life.
Would you not class though going to prison?
I don't consider that a failure, no.
But isn't success a series of small failures or big failures in order to be successful?
Yeah, but I mean, what's the primary objectives of the masculine world? The primary objectives are to have an empire, which you can't say I don't have financially and socially. Was a cultural force. To have progeny, which I have. To be strong and to be well-known and renowned, which I have. You know, I dedicated my 20s to fighting in the ring. No one can say I'm not brave. I dedicated my life to combat, and I have a whole bunch of children and a whole bunch of money. It doesn't matter if I go to prison for the rest of my life. I've lived more life than most men ever will.
Yeah.
And I think I've done pretty good in this version of the reality, considering I'm from a Luton council estate.
And
I don't operate from the realm of regret. And I don't regret going to jail, and I don't regret anything bad that's ever happened to me, and I never will. If bad things happen to me in the future, I won't regret them either. I just don't operate from that frame. I really do consider myself far more a commentator on life than a liver of life. I am a vessel, but I observe everything from above.
All right, cool. So that's part 4 done and dusted, man. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's part 4 of the Body Blue and Andrew Tate podcast. But yeah, at the end of the day, he's got his opinion in the day. I disagree with most of what he says. There's some parts I do agree, some parts I disagree, but yeah, here's what it is, man. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's part 4 of the reactions. I think the last part will be part 5. Hopefully we can squeeze all that in. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff as I said. Give me 200 subs, and yeah, that's it from me. Peace.